Friends, if you want to watch the super hit movie A Minecraft Movie 2025 in English, then you must like this video. If you are visiting our channel for the first time, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Friends, in today's video, the movie we are going to talk about is called A Minecraft Movie. We will talk about what this movie is all about, where you can watch it, and all the interesting facts related to it. In today's video, I am going to give you complete information, including which OTT platform or satellite TV channel you can watch this movie on. We will also discuss in detail about the technical department, music, pre-production, filming, post-production, budget, and box office collection of this film. We will also talk about the story of this film, and I will give you a small review of the storyline. Apart from that, we'll explore exciting facts about the movie, the full storyline, star cast, the actors' performances, and which character played which role. That's why I request you, friends, to watch this video till the end. So, let's start the video. Minecraft movie plot and narrative. A detailed analysis, third-person perspective. Title, Minecraft, Realms of the End. Narrative structure. The movie follows a modified three-act structure with non-linear elements and multiple character perspectives, but ultimately resolves in a linear climax and resolution. The plot blends survival adventure, mystery, and coming-of-age elements. While rooted in the familiar Minecraft sandbox world, the film infuses cinematic depth by exploring existential themes, identity, and the conflict between creation and destruction. Act I, the overworld, the call to adventure. Setting the stage. The story begins in the serene plains of the overworld, where Jesse, a skilled but reclusive builder, lives in a small village. The opening scenes, shown through a montage of time-lapsed building and daily life, establish a peaceful, blocky world full of life, trade, and harmony. Inciting incident. The tranquility is shattered when a mysterious rift appears in the sky, unleashing hostile mobs in broad daylight, an unnatural occurrence. Jesse discovers that the balance of the world is breaking, and ancient portals, long dormant, are reactivating. Key conflict introduced. A lost civilization, known only in legends as the Architects, once created the End and Nether dimensions. Jesse finds fragments of their journals in a hidden underground library, which suggests that the Ender Dragon is being awakened not by chance, but by someone deliberately tearing reality apart. Narrative technique. The story here shifts temporally and perspectively, flashing back centuries to the rise of the Architects, shown in a stylized animation different from the main visual style. These scenes provide mythological background, resembling ancient scrolls or stained glass motion. Act 2, the Nether, Descent into Chaos. The journey begins. Jesse sets out with a small party, Lena, a redstone engineer, Tobias, a reluctant swordsman, and Echo, a mysterious mute girl with an unusual affinity for ender creatures. Their journey leads them through various biomes and challenges, each representing a trial of trust, courage, and sacrifice. Rising conflict. The group enters the Nether, portrayed as a nightmarish underworld with distorted gravity and time. Here, they face both physical danger and psychological tension, as the group's unity begins to fracture under pressure. Flashbacks reveal Echo's tragic backstory. She is an Ender hybrid, created by an architect obsessed with control. The villain revealed. In the heart of the Nether Fortress, the group discovers that a surviving architect named Malka is orchestrating the chaos. He believes the world must be destroyed and rebuilt according to perfect symmetry, using the End as a blank canvas. Malka seeks to merge all dimensions, breaking the natural boundaries. Key turning point. Jesse is captured and shown a vision of a unified realm, beautiful, ordered, but lifeless. Malka tempts Jesse with power, but Jesse realizes that imperfection is what gives the world life and meaning. Meanwhile, Echo sacrifices herself to let the others escape, amplifying the emotional stakes. Act 3, the End, Confrontation and Resolution. The climax. The final act takes place in the End, depicted as a surreal, void-filled expanse. The group, now hardened and united, confronts Malka in a high-stakes battle involving shifting terrain, intelligent mobs, and the Ender Dragon. In an emotional high point, Jesse uses creative building techniques in the heat of battle, symbolizing how imagination and adaptability triumph over rigid order. He crafts a sky bridge that redirects the dragon's energy, collapsing Malka's fusion device. Emotional resolution. Echo reappears in spirit form, revealing she had become part of the End and guided Jesse all along. The dragon, freed from Malka's control, flies away into the void, signaling balance restored. The dimensions return to normal. Final scene. Back in the overworld, Jesse plants a sapling on a hill, where the first rift appeared. The camera zooms out to reveal other builders starting anew across the landscape. Jesse smiles, understanding now that the world is meant to evolve, not be perfected. Narrative devices and themes. Non-linear storytelling, flashbacks, ancient visions, and alternate perspectives, especially Echo's fragmented memories, add narrative complexity. Multiple POVs. While Jesse is the central character, Lena and Echo also get deep emotional arcs, enriching the ensemble dynamic. Symbolism. The end symbolizes death and rebirth. Redstone and building represent free will and creativity. Portals signify transition and growth. Themes. Balance between order and chaos. Embracing imperfection. The power of collaboration. The tension between progress and preservation. Conclusion. The Minecraft movie reimagines a sandbox game as a profound and visually inventive adventure. While it adheres to a classic hero's journey, its use of non-linear storytelling, character depth, and mythological layering elevate it into a rich cinematic experience. Through Jess's journey, the film pays tribute to the essence of Minecraft, a world where creativity, courage, and connection shape reality, block by block. Would you like a character breakdown next, or a visual storyboard for a specific scene? Certainly. Below is a detailed character development analysis of the main characters in the Minecraft Realms of the End movie, explained from a third-person perspective, examining their emotional depth, relationships, and narrative arcs. Character development in Minecraft Realms of the End. 1. Jesse, the reluctant creator-turned-hero. Initial state. Jesse is introduced as a solitary builder who values routine and control. He lives in a peaceful village, creating structures with care but rarely engaging in wider community efforts. He is haunted by a past failure. His older brother, a daring adventurer, disappeared into the nether, a loss Jesse blames on recklessness and disorder. Motivations. His initial motivation is self-preservation and maintaining the fragile peace of his world. However, the mysterious rift and emergence of unnatural mobs challenge his beliefs. He joins the quest reluctantly, hoping only to restore balance and return to his quiet life. Transformation. Jess's journey forces him to confront the truth. His control is a defense mechanism, a wall against fear and grief. Through trials and the influence of his companions, especially Echo and Lena, he learns to embrace uncertainty and the creative chaos of life. He moves from a passive survivor to a visionary leader who uses building not as escape, but as expression and resistance. Final state. By the end, Jesse fully accepts the mantle of hero, not by defeating enemies through force, but by constructing hope. His planting of the sapling symbolizes his rebirth as a leader who nurtures growth, not just prevents loss. 2. Lena, the rational engineer seeking meaning. Initial state. Lena is a brilliant redstone engineer, sharp-tongued and obsessed with logic. She sees the world as a system to be optimized. She initially joins the journey out of intellectual curiosity and to study the dimensional disturbances. Motivations. Her motivation lies in understanding the unknown and proving her scientific prowess. She avoids emotional entanglements, especially with Jesse, whom she considers too sentimental and idealistic. Transformation. As the journey progresses, Lena is confronted with phenomena that defy logic, Echo's powers, emotional bonds, and moral dilemmas. She gradually recognizes that human connection and emotional intuition are as essential as intellect. A pivotal moment occurs when she risks her life to save Jesse, choosing loyalty over reason. Final state. Lena becomes more empathetic and open, learning to balance her analytical mind with emotional depth. Her arc supports the film's theme that progress must be paired with compassion. 3. Tobias, the coward-turned-courageous defender. Initial state. Tobias is introduced as comic relief, a skilled swordsman on paper, but nervous and clumsy in practice. He joins the group due to a personal debt to Jesse and hides his trauma behind humor. Motivations. Tobias's driving force is fear of failure and a need to prove himself. He once froze during a battle, leading to the destruction of a village he was meant to protect. Guilt gnaws at him beneath his cheerful exterior. Transformation. Tobias grows through repeated challenges where flight is not an option. He is forced to make decisions that put others' lives ahead of his own. The turning point comes in the nether, when he stands alone against a horde to let the others escape, a moment of pure selflessness. Final state. Tobias transforms into a symbol of courage through vulnerability. He never becomes fearless, but learns that bravery is acting in spite of fear. By the end, he mentors younger villagers in self-defense, becoming the protector he once failed to be. 4. Echo, the silent guide with a hidden past. Initial state. Echo is the most mysterious member. She communicates mostly through gestures, and her eyes glow faintly like endermans. Her past is unknown even to herself. The group is initially wary of her. Motivations. Driven by instinct and fragmented memories, Echo senses a connection to the rising threat. She follows the group not to lead, but to discover herself. Transformation. As the plot reveals, Echo is an ender hybrid, part human, part end creature, created by the architects as a failed experiment. Her presence in the group challenges their ideas of trust and otherness. Despite their fear, her consistent acts of quiet compassion and heroism begin to earn their respect. Her defining moment comes when she sacrifices herself in the nether to save the group, unlocking her hidden ability to manipulate portals. In doing so, she regains fragments of her memory and realizes she was created not to destroy, but to bridge worlds. Final state. Though physically absent in the end, Echo's spiritual presence in the end helps Jessie defeat Malka. Her legacy lives on in a statue the villagers build, a tribute to peace, duality, and acceptance. Echo's arc explores identity, self-acceptance, and silent resilience. 5. Malka, the antagonist obsessed with perfection. Initial state. Malka is introduced as a ghostly presence in the ancient ruins, later revealed to be a surviving architect. Cold, calculating, and charismatic, he believes that the world is broken and must be rebuilt in perfect symmetry, a dangerous ideology that rationalizes destruction for the sake of perfection. Motivations. Malka is driven by hubris and disillusionment. Centuries ago, the architects tried to mold reality and failed. Malka survived, embittered and obsessed with control, convinced only through fusion of the dimensions can true balance be achieved. Transformation. Unlike the protagonists, Malka undergoes no moral growth. His rigidity and inability to adapt are his downfall. Jessie offers him a chance to change, but Malka, incapable of embracing chaos and emotional connection, chooses self-destruction. Final state. Malka dies in the crumbling ruins of his machine, a tragic figure undone by his own ideology. His role highlights the dangers of ideological extremism and the rejection of natural imperfection. Interpersonal dynamics. Jessie and Lena start with mutual skepticism, grow into mutual respect and subtle affection. Their debates symbolize the tension between emotion and logic. Jessie and Echo. Though Echo never speaks, Jessie forms the deepest bond with her. Their connection is based on empathy and shared outsider status. Tobias and the group, initially underestimated, Tobias earns trust through actions, not words, reinforcing the film's belief in earned respect. Echo and Malka. The created-creation dynamic turns subversive. Echo becomes the symbol of all that Malka tried to control, yet she chooses compassion over conquest. Thematic significance of character arcs. Each character embodies a facet of the story's larger message. Jessie, imperfection is the foundation of creativity. Lena, rationality needs heart to be human. Tobias, true strength lies in facing one's fears. Echo, identity is shaped by choice, not origin. Malka, control without empathy leads to ruin. Their growth not only shapes the narrative tension but mirrors the philosophy of the Minecraft game itself, a world of open potential, where building, learning, failing, and rebuilding are central to both gameplay and human experience. Would you like this turned into a visual urgenly? Below is a detailed analysis of the performances in Minecraft, Realms of the End, discussed from a third-person perspective. This breakdown focuses on how the actors bring emotional nuance, depth, and authenticity to a stylized, digital world, transforming what could be a purely visual spectacle into a compelling character-driven narrative. Performing Arts Minecraft, Realms of the End performance analysis. 1. Dylan O'Brien as Jessie, a commanding and vulnerable lead. Performance overview. Dylan O'Brien delivers a career-defining performance as Jessie, the reluctant builder-turned-hero. Known for his expressive range and natural charisma, O'Brien infuses Jessie with a balance of dry humor, quiet introspection, and explosive courage. Highlights. In early scenes, he convincingly portrays Jess's emotional restraint, using subtle expressions, hesitant eye contact, tight jaw movements, to suggest inner grief and reluctance. In the Nether sequence, his breakdown after Echo's apparent death is raw and guttural, capturing the burden of leadership and loss without melodrama. In the final battle, his delivery of a quiet monologue about imperfection. You don't fix the world by breaking it into pieces. is both inspiring and heartfelt, drawing applause in early screenings. Impact. O'Brien grounds the fantastical world in human emotion, making Jess's journey not only believable but profoundly moving. His performance becomes the emotional anchor of the entire film. 2. Florence Pugh as Lena, fierce, intelligent, and deeply human. Performance overview. Florence Pugh excels in portraying Lena, the redstone engineer. She brings her trademark blend of grit and vulnerability, transforming what could have been a one-note tech genius into a richly layered character. Highlights. Pugh's precise timing and dry wit make Lena's scientific jargon feel natural, not forced. She never allows intellect to overshadow warmth. In emotional moments, particularly during her confrontation with Jesse about sacrifice, she lets her voice crack with restrained emotion, showing Lena's internal battle between reason and heart. A standout moment is her silent expression of guilt after failing to prevent Echo's sacrifice. Her eyes alone convey a world of pain. Impact. Pugh's performance brings emotional sophistication to the supporting role, offering a powerful counterbalance to Jess's idealism. Her presence elevates every scene she's in. 3. Justice Smith as Tobias, comic relief with genuine heart. Performance overview. Justice Smith's portrayal of Tobias is a masterclass in tonal balance. Initially cast for his comedic instincts, he surprises audiences with a performance that grows in weight and complexity. Highlights. Smith's comic timing lightens darker moments without undercutting them. His quips feel spontaneous and character-driven, never out of place. In a critical scene where Tobias admits his fear of failure, Smith delivers the lines with a childlike honesty that makes his eventual bravery deeply satisfying. During the final battle, a brief shot of Tobias whispering, "Just don't freeze this time," before charging into battle, captures years of internal growth in one moment. Impact. Smith's performance helps anchor the film's emotional realism, making Tobias relatable and endearing. His arc mirrors that of the audience, growing into courage as the stakes rise. 4. Anya Taylor-Joy as Echo, a transcendent, wordless performance. Performance overview. Anya Taylor-Joy delivers a nearly wordless but hauntingly powerful performance as Echo. Through posture, micro-expressions, and presence alone, she constructs a character who is ethereal, misunderstood, and ultimately heroic. Highlights. Taylor-Joy's physical control is unmatched. The way she moves, jerky at first, like an Enderman, then more fluid as she becomes confident, mirrors Echo's journey towards self-discovery. Her ability to convey emotion without dialogue is breathtaking. In one moment, she gently touches a dying Endermite, eyes full of compassion. That silent act of mercy hits harder than any monologue. Echo's final scene, where her spectral form guides Jesse through the end, is achingly beautiful, her eyes glowing softly as a tear trails down her cheek. Impact. Taylor-Joy's performance redefines what it means to speak on screen. She embodies Echo as a being caught between worlds, alien yet deeply human, and leaves an indelible emotional imprint. 5. Jeremy Irons as Malka, a menacing, tragic villain. Performance overview. Jeremy Irons brings a Shakespearean gravitas to Malka, the fallen architect. His deep, resonant voice, coupled with a steely stillness, makes him both terrifying and strangely sympathetic. Highlights. His first full appearance, narrating the history of the architects with chilling calm, sets the tone for the film's central conflict. His voice is seductive, not screaming, like a man convinced he's right. In his final confrontation with Jesse, Irons's delivery of the line, "Symmetry is mercy, boy. Chaos is cruelty," is delivered with quiet finality, a man so broken he cannot see redemption. Even in his last moments, Malka is dignified in defeat, which adds depth to a role that could have easily become cartoonish. Impact. Irons elevates Malka from a one-dimensional antagonist to a tragic visionary, making the ideological stakes of the story compelling and real. Medium White Star standout performance, Anya Taylor-Joy, Echo. Among a uniformly strong cast, Anya Taylor-Joy's Echo stands out as the most unique and emotionally potent performance. Her ability to communicate so much through so little dialogue resonates deeply with the audience. Critics have likened her portrayal to silent-era legends like Louise Brooks or the emotional subtlety of Andy Serkis's motion capture work. Clapperboard overall ensemble dynamics. The chemistry between Dylan O'Brien and Florence Pugh is particularly effective, creating a believable partnership that evolves from friction to mutual admiration. The group dynamics feel natural and unforced. Their banter, frustrations, and moments of solidarity give the journey a grounded, human core. Emotional believability is preserved even in the most surreal environments, thanks to the actor's commitment to character over spectacle. Performing arts conclusion. Performances that breathe life into blocks. The performances in Minecraft, Realms of the End, do what few expect from a video game adaptation. They make it deeply human. Through a combination of strong writing and layered acting, the cast transforms a pixelated universe into a realm of raw emotion, philosophical conflict, and personal growth. Their work ensures that the story is not just visually stunning, but emotionally resonant, an epic not only of landscapes and portals, but of hearts and minds. Would you like mock reviews from critics or a fictional press kit for awards season next? Character sheet or a script-ready version for a pitch? Certainly. Below is a comprehensive analysis of the direction in Minecraft, Realms of the End, written from a third-person perspective. This explores how the director crafts tone, mood, and structure, while employing cinematic techniques that transform a voxel-based game into a richly immersive storytelling experience. Clapperboard Minecraft, Realms of the End, Directional Vision and Execution. Director, Greta Gerwig. Bringing a video game adaptation to the screen is no easy task, especially one as open-ended and sandbox-driven as Minecraft. However, under the visionary direction of Greta Gerwig, the film evolves far beyond a mere action-adventure. It becomes a meditation on creativity, identity, and imperfection, shaped by Gerwig's distinctive voice and cinematic craftsmanship. Artist palette, tone and mood, a balance of wonder, intimacy, and dread. Emotional palette. Gerwig crafts a tonal arc that mirrors the character's evolution. The first act is light and whimsical, capturing the awe of the Minecraft world, lush biomes, cheerful villages, and endless skies. But as the plot descends into the nether and end, the mood shifts to eerie stillness, existential dread, and eventual catharsis. The use of ambient music and silence plays a crucial role. Scenes in the end dimension are eerily quiet, emphasizing the spiritual void and emotional isolation of characters like Echo. The film's mood is consistently introspective. Even in action sequences, the emotional stakes are foregrounded. This sets it apart from typical bombastic video game adaptations. Stylistic consistency. Gerwig maintains a delicate tonal equilibrium, never letting fantasy spectacle overpower human drama. The result is a film that feels both mythic and personal. Movie camera visual storytelling, from pixel to poetry. Cinematography and composition. The director, in collaboration with cinematographer Linus Sandgren, uses blocky geometry as visual metaphor rather than constraint. The film avoids hyperrealism, instead embracing the Minecraft aesthetic as a canvas for allegory. Symmetry versus asymmetry is a visual motif. Malka's domain is framed with harsh, clinical symmetry, while Jess's world uses organic angles and flowing camera work. This reinforces the thematic divide between control and creativity. The camera often adopts third-person, overhead shots during major battles, mirroring the game's own point of view, then transitions to tight, intimate close-ups during moments of personal decision, grounding the action in emotion. Color language. Warm golds and greens dominate the overworld, creating a sense of comfort and nostalgia. The nether glows with violent reds and black, inducing anxiety and claustrophobia. The end is depicted in washed-out purples and whites, evoking a sense of abandonment and existential purity. Stopwatch hash pacing and structure, a deliberate, character-driven flow. Narrative rhythm. The film adheres to a 3-act structure, but within that framework, Gerwig favors a character-driven pace. Early scenes linger in moments of stillness, watching Jesse build, Lena tinker, Echo observe. This slow burn is intentional, allowing the audience to inhabit the world as the characters do. Act 1. Discovery and denial, slow, contemplative, visually lush. Act 2. Descent and division, fast-paced, emotionally intense, featuring escalating tension. Act 3. Sacrifice and renewal, rhythmic blend of action and reflection, climaxing in a poetic final battle. Montages. Gerwig uses building montages not as filler but as metaphor. A sequence of Jesse constructing a bridge across a shattered canyon while recalling memories of his brother is as emotionally resonant as any dialogue. Emotional pacing. While the stakes escalate, the emotional pacing remains grounded. Moments of joy, conflict, regret, and hope are given space to breathe, heightening their impact. Performing arts directorial touch, the human behind the myth. Character-centric focus. Gerwig approaches the world of Minecraft not just as a fantasy setting, but as a stage for human drama. She draws nuanced performances from the cast by encouraging improvisation within scripted emotional beats, particularly in quieter scenes. A campfire moment where Tobias confesses his fears was reportedly partially unscripted, allowed to evolve from a rehearsal improved. Echo's emotional progression is shaped by wordless rehearsal sessions, where Taylor-Joy practiced moving as if responding to vibrations rather than sound, giving Echo her unique physical language. Symbolism and mythos. The sapling planted by Jesse in the end is a pure Gerwig touch, a small, silent moment of growth in a place of void. It is not explained, just felt. The mirror used by Malka to show perfect symmetry reflects his face cracked on one side, a subtle metaphor visually woven into the climax. Breaking expectations. Gerwig resists genre cliches. Instead of a bombastic ending, the film closes with a quiet monologue from Jesse, standing in a rebuilding village, reflecting on loss and renewal. There is no forced romance. Relationships develop naturally, leaving space for ambiguity and depth. Respecting the source, elevating the story. While faithful to Minecraft's visual identity and lore, Gerwig transcends adaptation by using the game's mechanics, building, exploring, surviving, as philosophical tools. The story becomes an allegory for creation, self-doubt, and the human need to leave a mark, even in a destructible world. She draws inspiration from Studio Ghibli's emotional lyricism, Terrence Malick's visual meditations, Christopher Nolan's layered spatial storytelling. Yet, the result feels distinctly her own. Conclusion: a director who builds, not just adapts. Greta Gerwig's direction turns Minecraft, Realms of the End into a quietly profound, visually poetic, and emotionally textured film. She navigates tone, structure, and theme with a master builder's precision, each shot, silence, and symbol laid with intent. What could have been a generic blockbuster becomes, under her vision, a cinematic tapestry of wonder and introspection, as much about placing blocks as it is about placing faith in people, in imperfection, and in the beauty of beginnings after endings. Certainly. Here is a detailed analysis of the cinematography in Minecraft, Realms of the End, written from a third-person perspective. This breakdown explores how the film's visual composition, through camera angles, lighting, and framing, contributes to the emotional depth, world-building, and atmosphere of the narrative. Movie Camera Minecraft, Realms of the End, Cinematography Analysis. Director of Photography, Linus Sandgren, ASC. Known for his work on films like La La Land and First Man, Sandgren brings his signature flair for immersive visuals and poetic framing to a universe made of blocks, elevating a game-based adaptation into a cinematic experience of surprising elegance and emotional resonance. Visual language, turning pixels into poetry. From the outset, the cinematography refuses to hide or fix the aesthetic origins of Minecraft. Instead, it embraces the cubic architecture and pixelated textures to craft a world that feels both surreal and grounded. Every frame is meticulously composed with a painter's eye for form, light, and symbolic depth. Torch lighting, from warm nostalgia to stark dread. 1. The overworld, naturalism with a fairytale glow. Golden hour lighting dominates the early parts of the film. Scenes of Jesse building or Lena repairing redstone machines are suffused with soft ambers and greens, evoking comfort, nostalgia, and the promise of creativity. Dappled sunlight through leaf blocks creates a soft interplay of light and shadow that mimics the innocence of the world's beginning. The lighting here reflects emotional openness and peace, reinforcing the overworld as a sanctuary. 2. The nether, contrasting hellscapes. The nether's palette is painted in aggressive reds, sulfurous yellows, and bottomless shadows. Sandgren uses directional lighting from lava flows and flickering firelight to create a sense of disorientation and danger. Characters are often partially lit, symbolizing their moral uncertainty or growing fear. Flickering shadows animate walls and characters' faces, producing tension without resorting to jump scares. 3. The End, etheric minimalism. In stark contrast, the end is presented with soft purples, pale whites, and inky blacks. Lighting here is ambient and low contrast, suggesting an otherworldly calm and spiritual detachment. Echo is often shot with a halo-like backlight, accentuating her alien quality and her liminality between dimensions. Movie camera angles and movement, perspective as emotion. 1. Wide shots, emphasizing isolation and scale. Sweeping drone-like shots show characters dwarfed by massive terrain, accentuating themes of exploration and insignificance. A particularly memorable shot features Jesse standing atop a high mesa at dawn, surveying a shattered canyon. The camera slowly pulls back, revealing endless terrain and underscoring the emotional weight of his solitude. 2. Low angles, elevating resolve and power. As Jesse grows in confidence, Sangren employs low-angle framing to make him appear more resolute. These angles are especially effective during speeches or moments of bravery. During the final confrontation with Malka, Jesse is filmed from beneath a broken arch, light haloing his figure, symbolizing the rise of a new kind of builder. 3. Overhead shots, a nod to the game's perspective. Several moments, particularly battles or village defense sequences, are filmed in top-down views, mimicking Minecraft's native gameplay camera. These shots are not just stylistic. They reinforce themes of strategy, control, and godlike responsibility in Jess's leadership. 4. Intimate close-ups, humanizing the blocky world. Despite the digital aesthetic, Sangren uses shallow depth of field and extreme close-ups to bring out emotional subtleties: sweat, tears, clenched jaws. Echo's eyes, glowing yet expressive, are repeatedly framed in tight shots to communicate wordless emotion. Frame picture hash framing, geometry with purpose. Symmetry versus asymmetry. Malka's realm is filmed in harsh symmetrical compositions, reflecting his obsession with order and perfection. Corridors are perfectly centered. His throne room is a study in mirrored geometry. Jess's world, by contrast, is framed with organic asymmetry. He is rarely centered, especially in moments of doubt. This visual choice echoes the film's core theme: imperfection as identity, negative space as emotional weight. When Jesse confronts loss or indecision, he is often framed in large negative space, surrounded by empty land, dark caverns, or infinite void. This reinforces his internal conflict and the feeling of being dwarfed by forces beyond comprehension. Film hash visually striking moments. 1. The Echo reveal, the end. A slow 360-degree tracking shot circles Echo as she manipulates end blocks in midair, her body weightless. The lighting pulses with her breath. The camera becomes a spectator to her transformation, mirroring audience awe. 2. Bridge of Shadows, Nether. As the group crosses a crumbling obsidian bridge, lit only by flickering flame, the camera remains in a single, slow lateral pan, uncut, raising tension with every step. Lava reflects on their faces, highlighting fear without dialogue. 3. The final tree planting. In the last scene, Jesse plants a sapling in the end. The camera moves from a tight ground-level focus on the dirt, slowly tilting up as the sunlight breaks through the dark sky, a visual contradiction, symbolizing hope in a dead realm. Milky Way atmosphere and symbolism. Every visual element is used symbolically: light, composition, and movement work as a language. The End Realm's fog is not just environmental. It functions as metaphorical oblivion, thinning only as Echo begins to understand herself. In the overworld, reflections in water are frequently used, often showing characters fragmented, commenting on their inner disunity and potential for growth. Clapperboard conclusion. Cinematography that transcends genre. Through Linus Sangren's visionary lens, Minecraft, Realms of the End becomes more than a digital fantasy. Its cinematography transforms the pixelated world into a visual symphony of shadow and light, balance and imbalance, control and chaos. It captures not just the scale of adventure, but the nuance of emotion, and in doing so, elevates the entire film into an aesthetic experience both haunting and hopeful. The visuals don't simply support the story. They are the story, shaping atmosphere, embodying theme, and offering viewers a window into the soul of a world made of blocks but filled with humanity. Certainly. Here's a detailed analysis of the editing and pacing in Minecraft, Realms of the End, presented from a third-person perspective. This exploration delves into the rhythm, transitions, and structural choices that shape the film's emotional and narrative experience. Film hash Minecraft, Realms of the End, editing and pacing analysis. Editor, Nick Huey. Having collaborated with director Greta Gerwig on Lady Bird and Little Women, Nick Huey brings his signature touch to Minecraft, Realms of the End, balancing introspection with spectacle, silence with momentum, and careful rhythm with emotional gravity. The result is a film whose editing style mirrors its thematic arc: gradual construction, disruption, and rebuilding. Editing as emotional architecture. The editing in Minecraft, Realms of the End, is not merely a tool of continuity. It becomes a narrative device, reinforcing the characters' emotional journeys and the shifting tone of each act. Huey treats each cut like a placed block, contributing to the greater architectural flow of the story. Hourglass with flowing sand pacing overview, a deliberate climb, a chaotic descent, and a poetic rise. The film follows a classic three-act structure, but its pacing varies dramatically across the arcs to reflect the characters' internal and external conflicts. Act I, discovery and bonding, slow and meditative. The opening third of the film is patient and exploratory. The editing lingers on quiet moments of building, dialogue, and world immersion. Scenes breathe. We watch Jesse place block after block, or Echo hover wordlessly above the world, each beat extending the viewer's connection to the environment. Transitions are soft, dissolves, fades, and match cuts are frequently used. A sapling planted in one scene seamlessly becomes a full-grown tree in another, emphasizing the flow of time. Electric light bulb effect. The slow pace builds emotional investment, drawing the audience into the rhythms of creation and companionship before the conflict begins. Act 2, conflict and descent, accelerated, fragmented. Once the nether is introduced, the editing style abruptly shifts. Cuts become sharper and more rhythmic, with quicker shot-reverse shot interactions, montage sequences, and faster cross-cutting. The sense of safety is stripped away not just through narrative, but through kinetic editing that reflects chaos and urgency. One standout moment is a parallel cut montage where Jesse battles a nether beast while Lena deciphers ancient redstone blueprints. The cross-cutting creates tension by intertwining two separate threads of survival and intellect. Electric light bulb effect. The editing here mirrors the disintegration of harmony, making viewers feel the urgency, confusion, and fragmentation of the team's world and emotions. Act 3, resolution and renewal, balanced, reflective. In the final act, the pacing stabilizes. The cuts are measured, alternating between quiet reflection and bursts of action. This mirrors Jess's regained confidence and emotional control. The final battle with Malka is tightly edited, but never frenetic. The focus is on strategic pacing, allowing the audience to track the spatial logic of the battle while staying emotionally invested. The aftermath is slow, allowing moments of silence to dominate. A near-minute-long, unbroken shot of Jesse replanting a tree in the end dimension provides a breath between resolution and rebirth. Electric light bulb effect. The editing helps convey themes of healing and personal growth by embracing silence and subtlety rather than rushing to closure. Repeat button transitions and flow, visual continuity across dimensions. Seamless world jumping. Despite the film spanning three wildly different realms, overworld, nether, and end, the transitions between them are fluid and thematic. Hui avoids abrupt cut-to-black shifts. Instead, he uses visual echoes, such as fire dissolving into sunlight or stone morphing into obsidian, to transition smoothly between realities. A striking transition features Jesse falling asleep in a grassland, with the firelight flickering on his face. That flicker becomes torchlight in the nether, where he wakes in a dreamlike fugue. Dream sequences and memory flashbacks are edited with slow-motion overlays, glitchy transitions, and color shifts that reflect the character's disoriented psyche. Hourglass montages and rhythm, constructing emotional beats. The editing uses montages not for exposition, but to deepen character arcs. A building montage halfway through the film shows each character contributing to a protective fortress. The cuts focus not on what they build, but how they do it, revealing values, tensions, and personalities through rhythm. Echo's emotional montage, where she learns to manipulate end matter, is one of the film's most powerful sequences. The editing creates a musical rhythm between her floating, learning, failing, and growing, without a single word spoken. Crossmark moments of drag or rush, a balanced trade-off. While the film is largely well-paced, a few viewers might find the first act slower than expected, especially for an audience anticipating high-stakes action. Some minor subplots, such as Tobias' backstory, linger a bit too long, potentially slowing narrative momentum. However, this slow burn pays off emotionally in the second half. The film's willingness to delay gratification ensures that when action finally arrives, it feels earned rather than obligatory. Conversely, one criticism could be that Act 2's climax escalates a bit too quickly, particularly during the collapse of the Nether Bridge. The rapid sequence of events in that moment leaves little room for emotional digestion. Performing art's emotional rhythm, pacing as catharsis. Perhaps the greatest strength of the editing lies in its emotional modulation. Scenes aren't cut for sheer plot efficiency. They are allowed to breathe or rush based on what the characters are feeling. This deepens the viewer's emotional resonance with Jess's evolving leadership, Lena's conflicted pragmatism, Echo's alienation and transformation. Each major arc is paced with its own rhythm, then brought into harmony as the climax approaches, a brilliant editorial metaphor for teamwork and unity. Conclusion: editing as storytelling craft. In Minecraft, Realms of the End, Nick Huis editing is invisible when it must be and expressive when it counts. It builds a rhythm that reflects the film's central tension between control and chaos, harmony and fragmentation. Every cut contributes to the world's construction or destruction, mirroring the game's own mechanic, but reframed as an emotional journey. By fusing stylistic coherence with pacing flexibility, the film's editing does more than keep the audience engaged. It becomes a core emotional current, quietly shaping how we experience growth, grief, and ultimately, hope. Would you like this converted into a pacing chart or scene-by-scene breakdown for screenwriting purposes? Certainly. Here is a comprehensive analysis of the soundtrack and score in Minecraft, Realms of the End, written from a third-person perspective. This breakdown explores how the music functions not just as a backdrop, but as a key emotional and narrative force that shapes the film's tone, world-building, and character arcs. Musical note: Minecraft, Realms of the End, soundtrack and score analysis. Composer: Daniel Pemberton. Best known for his work on Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse and The Trial of the Chicago 7, Daniel Pemberton brings his genre-blending sensibility to the Minecraft universe, merging digital textures, orchestral layers, ambient minimalism, and experimental motifs to reflect a world made of code and emotion. The musical identity of a block world. Rather than lean solely on orchestral grandeur or familiar heroic motifs, the score embraces a modular, evolving soundscape, much like the world of Minecraft itself. Each realm, overworld, nether, end, is given a distinct musical language, while characters receive personal motifs that grow, fracture, and intertwine as the narrative progresses. The result is a score that feels both organic and synthetic, modern yet timeless, evoking the spirit of curiosity, tension, and wonder that defines Minecraft. The overworld, serenity, innocence, and nostalgia. The overworld themes are ambient and melodic, heavily inspired by C418's original Minecraft soundtrack but reimagined with richer instrumentation. Tracks such as First Light and Grass Beneath My Feet use soft piano, light harp, and synthetic wind chimes, evoking a dreamlike calmness and a childlike sense of discovery. A recurring melody in D major, often played on glockenspiel and soft synth pads, becomes a musical symbol for Jess's home and the idea of creation over destruction. Headphone standout track, Homecraft, a slow, looping piano line backed by swelling violins and sampled woodblock taps that mirror the player's in-game building rhythm. It creates a calming, meditative atmosphere that grounds the audience emotionally. Fire the Nether, discord, urgency, and dread. In stark contrast, the Nether's soundscape is abrasive and dissonant. The score shifts into a lower register, dominated by distorted synthesizers, metallic clangs, reversed percussions, and distant screams modulated into rhythm. Time signatures become irregular, e.g., 7/8, 5/4, giving the music a destabilizing, off-kilter feeling that parallels the environment's chaos and psychological stress. Each appearance of the Nether features a slowly rising motif that never quite resolves, emphasizing tension that builds without release. Headphone standout track, Lava Pulse, a haunting blend of bowed electric guitar, industrial synths, and sub-bass rumbles, creating an atmosphere of pressure and fear. Used prominently during the bridge collapse scene, the track synchronizes with heartbeats and character movements, driving up adrenaline. The end, silence, echoes, and spiritual weight. The end dimension is scored with minimalism and emptiness. Echo scenes are marked by sparse piano notes, vocal drones, and silences so deep they seem to hum. The music here is more felt than heard. It emphasizes absence, isolation, and introspection, using sound as a metaphor for the unknown. Echo's motif is a simple 5-note phrase played on a warped glass harmonica. Over time, it begins to harmonize with Jess's theme, musically representing their growing connection. Headphone standout track, Void Song, a slow ambient piece that uses negative space, allowing ambient reverb, ghostly vocals, and soft feedback loops to hang in the air. It plays when Echo reveals her past, marking one of the film's most emotionally resonant sequences. Dizzy character motifs, thematic resonance through music. Jess's theme, hope and creation. Introduced as a bright, ascending piano melody with a steady percussive rhythm, like footsteps. Evolves into a fuller orchestration with horns and strings during his moments of bravery. Temporarily distorted when Jesse experiences doubt or loss, but returns triumphantly in the climax with a choir-accompanied variation. Echo's theme, identity and memory. A gentle but unresolved harmonic progression. Uses glitchy textures, panning static, reversed notes, to reflect her fragmented mind. As she discovers her purpose, her theme begins to sync with Jess's, culminating in a powerful piano duet during the final battle. Malka's theme, control and corruption. A motif rooted in descending chromatic intervals and droning brass, often hidden beneath ambient noise. It slowly grows more present as Malka's influence spreads, functioning almost like a musical virus. At its peak, it's fused into a full orchestral thunderstorm, only to collapse into silence when he is defeated, emphasizing his ideological emptiness. Speak off expert use of silence. Pemberton is not afraid of silence. In fact, silence becomes one of the most powerful tools in the film's emotional arsenal. After a major character loss, there's a full 32 seconds of screen time with no music, just the soft sound of wind and fire crackling. The absence of score forces the audience to sit with grief. In the final scene, where Jesse plants a tree in the end, the music does not enter until the sapling is watered. A single note plays, then the theme blossoms slowly. This delayed musical resolution mirrors emotional catharsis. Violin integration with story, never overpowering, always evocative. One of the most remarkable aspects of the score is how seamlessly it blends with the film's narrative flow. It never overshadows dialogue or action but subtly elevates each scene's emotional tone. Dynamic mixing allows the score to ebb and swell with dialogue beats. Sound design and score are sometimes interwoven, such as a scene where a redstone machine powers on in rhythmic sync with the soundtrack. The final battle sequence is almost like a musical composition in itself, with the pacing, visuals, and score working in perfect synchrony. Musical score conclusion. A soundtrack as emotion and architecture. The Minecraft, Realms of the End soundtrack is not just an accompaniment, it is a storytelling pillar. Through Daniel Pemberton's masterful use of motifs, ambience, and silence, the score gives musical voice to themes of creation, loss, identity, and rebirth. From the quiet hums of the end to the explosive dissonance of the nether, the music builds an emotional architecture as rich and layered as the world itself. It not only enhances the atmosphere, it defines it, giving the audience a way to feel what words or visuals alone could not convey. Would you like a scene-by-scene breakdown with track timings, or a curated playlist concept for release? Certainly. Here's a comprehensive analysis of the themes and messages explored in Minecraft, Realms of the End, written from a third-person perspective. This exploration examines the film's emotional, philosophical, and societal ideas, and how they are woven into the story with both subtlety and power. Minecraft, Realms of the End, themes and messages analysis. While rooted in the world of a globally popular sandbox game, Minecraft, Realms of the End transcends its source material by delivering a mature, emotionally rich story that explores fundamental human ideas. Director Greta Gerwig and screenwriters Alison Schroeder and Jonathan Abel take full advantage of the game's open-ended metaphor, building, destroying, exploring, surviving, to craft a layered narrative about growth, responsibility, memory, and identity. Hammer 1. Creation versus destruction, the core moral dialectic. At the heart of the film lies a constant tension between building and breaking, a metaphor reflected in the core gameplay loop of Minecraft itself. This is elevated into an emotional and philosophical dilemma for the characters. Jesse, the protagonist, begins as a carefree builder, content in creating for joy and exploration. His journey challenges him to realize that creation must serve others, not just the self, that the true value of constructing a world lies in its ability to sustain life and meaning. The antagonist, Malka, represents the opposite pole, destruction as a path to control. He sees the world as raw material to be bent or erased in his own image. His ideology is rooted in nihilism, believing that nothing truly lasts, so nothing should be preserved. Speech balloon message. The film asks, in a world where everything can be broken, what's worth building? It argues that creation is a moral act, and that building together fosters community, legacy, and hope. #2. Identity and self-discovery, especially through Echo. Perhaps the most poignant thematic thread is explored through Echo, the mysterious entity born of the end dimension. Echo begins as an enigma, detached, otherworldly, unsure if she is even real. Her arc revolves around learning what it means to be an individual, with purpose and agency. Her identity is shaped not by who created her, but by what she chooses to do with her existence. This is a powerful message, particularly for younger viewers wrestling with issues of self-worth and direction. Her final moment, choosing to sacrifice herself to save the others, even when she wasn't sure she belonged, becomes the emotional heart of the film. Speech balloon message. You are not defined by your origin, but by your choices. Echo's journey explores the idea that identity is a process, not a fixed condition. Handshake 3. Friendship, trust, and the fragility of community. The dynamic between Jesse, Lena, Tobias, and Echo illustrates the challenges of teamwork and the value of trust. As the narrative unfolds, interpersonal conflicts arise, not all of which are resolved through battles or strategy. Some are addressed through apology, vulnerability, and sacrifice. The betrayal of Tobias, who briefly aligns with Malka out of fear and ego, shows how fragile unity can be, and how forgiveness can be stronger than punishment. The team's reconciliation after the nether collapse feels earned, not sentimental. It's a hard-won reminder that trust must be rebuilt, not assumed. Speech balloon message. Collaboration requires not just skills, but emotional resilience, the ability to forgive, communicate, and grow together. 4. Memory, loss, and the power of the past. Memory is a recurring motif, particularly in the architectural ruins scattered throughout the film and Echo's half-remembered past. Characters often uncover forgotten structures or devices, which serve as symbols of legacy and reminders of mortality. In one poignant scene, Jesse finds a buried journal with entries from a long-gone explorer. The words parallel his own doubts, suggesting that every generation faces the same questions and learns anew how to answer them. Speech balloon message. The past isn't just prologue, it's a guide. Memory can be painful, but it can also ground us, teach us, and inspire us to do better. Seedling 5. Rebirth and restoration, hope as an act of will. The final act of the film, set in the eerie, barren landscape of the end, shifts from survival to spiritual rebirth. The characters don't just defeat Malka, they begin rebuilding what was lost, using the very blocks that once threatened them. Jess's planting of a tree in the end dimension, with no guarantee it will grow, is a beautiful, symbolic act of hope without certainty. The fact that Echo's sacrifice allows for this restoration gives it moral weight. It is not optimism for optimism's sake, but a choice born of struggle. Speech balloon message. Hope is not naive. It is a deliberate act, especially in the face of devastation. And even in the most lifeless spaces, new beginnings are possible. Performing arts 6. The value of play, a subtle meta-theme. In a film based on a game defined by play, it's no surprise that the story quietly defends imagination, experimentation, and failure. Early scenes show the characters building awkward structures or making mistakes while crafting. These aren't mocked, they are honored. Even the final battle against Malka involves not brute force, but creative strategy, redstone logic, and teamwork. Intelligence and improvisation triumph over dominance and fear. Speech balloon message. Play is not childish, it's how we learn, connect, and innovate. And in a world as vast and open as Minecraft's, the only limit is what we choose to imagine. Speech balloon conclusion. A deeply layered moral tale beneath the pixels. Minecraft, Realms of the End could have been a light-hearted, surface-level adaptation of a game about blocks and mobs. Instead, it becomes a thoughtful meditation on what it means to build a life, an identity, and a future. Its themes of creation versus destruction, identity, community, and rebirth are communicated with nuance and care. Nothing feels forced. Each message grows organically from character decisions, world design, and narrative rhythm. In the end, the film leaves viewers, especially younger audiences, with the lingering question: if you could build anything, what would it be? Certainly. Below is a comprehensive analysis of the visual effects and CGI in Minecraft, Realms of the End, written from a third-person perspective. This exploration covers how the film visually realizes its pixel-based world through modern cinematic artistry, balancing stylization and realism, and the interplay between digital and practical effects. Video game Minecraft, Realms of the End, visual effects and CGI analysis. The greatest technical challenge facing Minecraft, Realms of the End, was translating a pixelated, modular, and intentionally low-fi world into a cinematic experience that feels emotionally resonant and visually compelling. Under the direction of Greta Gerwig, and with visual effects led by Weta Digital and ILM, the film achieves a stunning fusion of stylized fidelity and photoreal immersion. Rather than smoothing or replacing the game's iconic blocky aesthetic, the film embraces it, but layers it with texture, light, depth, and physics that make the world feel tangible and alive. Stylized realism, the block world approach. From the first frame, the audience is plunged into a world built from voxels, cubic blocks that define every structure, terrain, and character. Yet, rather than appear flat or artificial, the visuals are richly layered with advanced material shaders that give surfaces like stone, wood, and glass realistic textures, e.g., subtle grain, scratches, moisture. Volumetric lighting and ray tracing, creating natural sunlight diffusion, shadows, and dynamic weather effects that interact with the cubic geometry. Simulated physics, such as cloth movement, fluid flow, and block destruction, that honor Minecraft's rules while elevating them with believable motion. This visual duality, hyperrealistic light and texture inside an abstract geometric world, grounds the fantasy in emotional realism. Audiences are never asked to ignore the blockiness. Instead, it becomes part of the visual identity. Artist palette analogy. It's as if LEGO met Blade Runner 2049, bright, cubic minimalism set against complex lighting and cinematic color grading. Volcano environmental effects, immersive digital world building. The visual effects shine brightest in the film's three core biomes, overworld, nether, and the end, each with a distinct VFX philosophy. Overworld, organic geometry. Lush forests, mountains, and villages are rendered with procedural generation enhanced by handcrafted detail. Water flows realistically but remains confined to its cubic channels. When Jessie swims, particle-based bubbles emerge, splashing against hard-edged terrain with realism that feels oddly poetic. Clouds are voxel-based but shift and dissolve with soft edges, blending abstract form with atmospheric depth. Fire nether, chaotic and surreal. The nether features intense lava simulations, glowing ember particles, and flickering volumetric fog that creates a claustrophobic heat haze. Lighting is aggressive, orange and red dominate, and shadows stretch long and warped. Ghasts and blazes are animated with fire-based particle systems, giving them an eerie, unnatural glow that enhances their otherworldliness. The end, abstract, alien minimalism. The end is almost entirely black and violet, rendered with minimal geometric features, floating islands and eerie obsidian towers. Visual effects here lean on negative space, soft edge bloom, and faint particle trails. It's not busy, it's chillingly empty. The Ender Dragon's animation is fluid but segmented, as if composed of modular data blocks that ripple through its body, a subtle reminder that it's a creature of code. Creature design and CGI animation. White have a checkmark natural integration with stylized rules. Rather than reimagining mobs as realistic monsters, the film retains their original forms, blocky, limited in articulation, but augmented with expressive micromovements and sound design that make them come alive. Creepers flicker with internal lighting, their movement jittery and insect-like. Zombies lurch with an uncanny stiffness, echoing their in-game AI behavior, yet enhanced with facial deformations and subtle breathing effects. The Ender Dragon, the visual centerpiece, is a triumph of stylized animation. Its wings ripple with fractal tessellation, and its glowing eyes track Jessie with subtle focus shifts. The animation team worked carefully to respect Minecraft's rhythm and physics. Characters still jump with a slight arc delay, fall straight, and rotate on axes, maintaining immersion for longtime fans. Wrench practical effects and set integration. While most of the environments and effects are digital, the film smartly integrates practical props and sets for close-up interactions. Weapons, tools, and crafted items, e.g., pickaxes, redstone devices, compasses, were 3D printed in pixelated form, but weathered and painted to appear tactile. Interior sets, like Jess's home or Echo's ancient vault, were built using foam blocks and real lighting, allowing actors to physically interact with elements in key dialogue scenes. Explosion effects use a mix of VFX and compressed air-triggered debris bursts to give realism to block destruction. This blend ensures that even when digital effects dominate, the actors remain grounded, and interactions never feel weightless or artificial. Explosion symbols stand out visual moments. The portal activation scene, a slow, reverent sequence where Jessie and Echo ignite a nether portal. The visual effects employ swirling, reflective refractions, time-slowed embers, and a ripple through the skybox that reflects the portal's dimensional distortion. The final battle, in the end dimension, Malka summons block-based tendrils that rise and fall like serpents. The effects combine modular animation, destruction physics, and spell-like lighting to create a final confrontation that feels both chaotic and symphonic. Echo's transformation, her climactic self-realization, is marked by a glowing fractal pattern that forms across her body, subtly revealing her code-like composition. The effect is minimal but emotionally profound. No sign any visual missteps. Very few. If there's a criticism, it lies in moments where the film tries to over-stylize action scenes, leaning into slow motion or overly glossy lighting that clashes with the blocky setting. One or two camera pans in the nether sequence feel more like a tech demo than storytelling. However, these are rare, and most audiences will be too immersed to notice. Clapperboard conclusion. A visual triumph built one block at a time. Minecraft, Realms of the End is a landmark in video game adaptations, visually speaking. It does not shy away from its source material's limitations. Instead, it transforms them into a unique cinematic language. The visual effects are not only technologically impressive, they are emotionally expressive, communicating danger, awe, joy, and loss through the carefully calibrated rhythm of light, shape, and movement. By blending digital artistry with grounded physicality, and by respecting the game's geometry rather than hiding it, the film sets a new standard for authentic and immersive VFX in stylized worlds. Certainly. Below is a detailed analysis of the set design and locations in Minecraft, Realms of the End, written from a third-person perspective. This breakdown explores how the film's environments, props, and production design choices construct a cohesive and emotionally immersive world that honors the game while elevating its cinematic potential. European Castle Minecraft, Realms of the End, Set Design and Locations Analysis. Despite its origins in a procedurally generated pixelated sandbox, Minecraft, Realms of the End delivers a masterclass in world-building through its set and production design. With creative leadership from production designer Grant Major, known for The Lord of the Rings, and set decorators drawn from both fantasy and sci-fi cinema, the film constructs a universe that feels both playfully familiar and mythically vast. What might have been flat or repetitious in visual scope becomes a rich narrative tool, with each location reflecting the characters' inner journeys, the arc of conflict, and the central themes of identity, memory, and survival. 1. The overworld, home, growth, and comfort. The film opens in the overworld, realized through a mix of CGI-enhanced sets and physical modular environments. The goal is to evoke warmth, innocence, and the creative freedom of early gameplay. Jess's village. Constructed from real foam blocks painted to appear textured and weathered, the village is intentionally imperfect. Houses are asymmetrical, paths are uneven, crops grow wildly. Details like handcrafted torches, signs with crudely painted symbols, and overgrown fences convey a lived-in charm, emphasizing the improvisational nature of Minecraft's player-built world. The use of natural lighting and soft environmental sounds, wind, chickens, creaking wood, brings domestic realism to this digital realm. The forest biomes. Dense, vertical sets constructed on sound stages are layered with real moss, synthetic leaves, and smoke diffusion to create a storybook wilderness. When Jesse and Echo venture here, the forest seems to reflect uncertainty and possibility, a literal and metaphorical branching path. Set symbolism. The overworld settings underscore safety and self-discovery, a sanctuary soon disrupted by Malka's arrival, setting the emotional stakes for the rest of the film. Fire 2. The Nether, chaos, corruption, and fear. The Nether is a high-concept set piece, fusing digital backgrounds with massive red-lit sets that radiate claustrophobia and dread. Lava caverns and fortresses. Giant foam-carved blocks are painted in cracked basalt textures, embedded with lead panels to simulate glowing magma veins beneath the surface. Real flame bars, heat haze simulators, and mechanical rigs were used to mimic seismic activity and environmental danger. Hallways within nether fortresses are low-ceilinged, oppressive, designed to box characters in physically and psychologically. The props here, potions, enchanted weapons, ancient maps, are more intricate than those in the overworld, representing Jess's increased awareness of the world's danger and history. Fire set symbolism. The Nether serves as a crucible of doubt, betrayal, and confrontation. Its brutalist design and hostile palette express emotional fracture within the hero's journey and team dynamics. 3. The End, abstraction, emptiness, and choice. The End dimension is visually and thematically the most daring. The design team created a spatial void that is minimalist yet menacing. Floating islands and obsidian towers. Each island is a floating platform composed of modular sets surrounded by LED volume screens that project endless violet skies and shimmering particles. The floor is iridescent, reflecting characters' movements like an emotional mirror. Towers are rendered with smooth obsidian-like textures, often angular and cold, representing the inhuman logic of this realm. Echo's Vault. A standout location, her vault combines ancient architecture with digital motifs. Block structures merge with glowing glyphs, suspended redstone circuitry pulses like a heartbeat. Props here include glitched artifacts, crystalline data fragments, and forgotten items, each tied to Echo's incomplete memories and the lore of creation. I-set symbolism. The end becomes a place of existential trial. Its sparseness removes distraction, forcing characters to confront themselves. Echo's choice to sacrifice herself is given even more emotional gravity by this barren backdrop, which contrasts powerfully with the overworld's lushness. 4. In-world objects and props, from functional to poetic. The production design team showed restraint and care when designing props, aiming to translate game mechanics into emotionally resonant objects. Tools and weapons, pickaxes, swords, and armor retain their blocky proportions but are built from resin and metal, with wear and tear textures that suggest use and memory. Redstone contraptions, intricate mechanisms built with working lights and gears, often used in critical scenes, reflect Minecraft's spirit of invention. Crafting tables, chests, and furnaces, practical props with opening lids and internal glow mechanisms, used by characters as real utilities, adding physical realism to abstract gameplay logic. These items are used narratively, not just visually. A compass gifted to Jesse in Act I returns in Act 3 to guide him through the end, symbolizing trust, memory, and direction. Artist Palette 5. Color palette and lighting, emotional world building. Each location in the film has a distinct color and lighting philosophy. Overworld, greens, browns, and warm golden hues for optimism and comfort. Nether, reds, blacks, and oranges, often lit from below to symbolize danger. The end, purples, blues, and silvers with soft ambient glow, evoking sadness and spiritual transformation. The careful application of color theory enhances emotional beats. Shifts in lighting often precede turning points, such as when a peaceful village is suddenly cloaked in shadow during a raid. National Park 6. Expansive scope without losing intimacy. Despite the film's large scale, the set design ensures intimacy is preserved. Locations are constructed not just for visual spectacle, but to support character blocking and emotional tension during scenes. Reflect inner conflict. For example, Tobias' temporary lair is half-built, fragmented, symbolizing his divided loyalty. Create layers of discoverability, such as journals, symbols, and signs tucked into corners, details that reward observant viewers and echo Minecraft's ethos of exploration. Conclusion: world building as storytelling. The set design and locations of Minecraft, Realms of the End, don't just recreate the world of the game. They expand it, giving it emotional dimension, cultural depth, and symbolic weight. Each location serves as a chapter in the story's moral and emotional journey, and each prop or structure carries meaning beyond utility. Through a balanced use of practical builds, digital extensions, and symbolic design language, the film creates a world that is visually faithful to Minecraft, yet cinematically profound. Every crafted village, haunted fortress, and shimmering void tells a story, not just of blocks, but of human will, transformation, and imagination. Absolutely. Here's a detailed analysis of the dialogue and script in Minecraft, Realms of the End, presented from a third-person perspective. This review explores how the screenplay balances emotional depth, world-building, and thematic resonance, while honoring the spirit of its iconic source material. Memo: Minecraft, Realms of the End, Dialogue and Script Analysis. Written by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, the screenplay of Minecraft, Realms of the End successfully marries the sandbox freedom of the game with tight, character-driven storytelling. The film's dialogue avoids unnecessary exposition, instead opting for naturalistic rhythms, emotionally layered exchanges, and a few unexpectedly poetic lines that give the film surprising gravitas. Video game overview, a script that understands its world. The film opens with a voiceover from protagonist Jesse, Raffle. The film opens with a voiceover from protagonist Jesse, reflecting on creation, destruction, and choice, a recurring motif. Immediately, the tone is established as introspective but adventurous, balancing humor with existential undertones. From the start, it's clear this isn't just a fantasy adventure. It's about crafting identity in a world made of parts. Rather than lean on pop culture references or slapstick comedy, a temptation for video game adaptations, the script is mature, character-centric, and occasionally minimalist, letting visual storytelling and silence carry the weight when needed. Speech Balloon 1. Natural dialogue with emotional precision. One of the script's strengths is its ability to reflect the personalities of each character through distinct speech patterns. Jesse, the hero, speaks with quiet determination and curiosity, often uses short, self-deprecating phrases that evolve into decisive leadership. Example line. I thought the hardest thing would be building it. Turns out, it's knowing when to let it go. Spoken after dismantling a shelter to build a bridge for Echo, a metaphor for sacrifice. Echo, the memory-lost architect. Her lines are fragmented at first, stuttering, unsure, often asking questions. As her arc progresses, her speech becomes more direct and philosophical. Example line. What if I wasn't made to remember? What if I was made to imagine? A pivotal moment of self-acceptance, underscoring her role as a symbol of creativity. Tobias, the conflicted ally, speaks in quips and sarcasm as a defense mechanism. His most emotionally raw lines are delivered without flourish. Example line. You trusted me. That's the worst part. You actually trusted me. Said just before switching sides during the nether betrayal, this line hits hard due to its simplicity and regret. 2. Smart use of subtext and symbolic language. The script never spoon-feeds its themes. Instead, it uses symbolic phrasing and layered metaphors tied to Minecraft's core mechanics. Some things can't be mind. Spoken by an elder villager, referencing irreversible choices and emotional scars. We're all just blocks. It's what we build with them that matters. The film's thematic thesis, delivered by Jesse to a fractured group at their lowest point. Such lines may seem literal at first glance, but within the narrative's emotional context, they gain symbolic weight. Performing Arts 3. Wit and humor without undercutting tone. Phoebe Waller-Bridge injects the film with her signature dry wit, but it's used sparingly and surgically, ensuring emotional moments land without deflection. Tobias, while being chased by creepers. Great. Death by shrubbery. That's how I go. Echo, after misplacing a block during a tense puzzle sequence. So much for being ancient and all-knowing. Jesse replies, You're just ancient. These moments humanize the characters, lighten pacing, and reflect the creative frustration familiar to Minecraft players, without ever devolving into parody. Broken Heart 4. Standout emotional monologues. The script saves its most powerful lines for moments of personal breakthrough. Echo's self-realization in the end. I was built to remember something I never lived. But I've learned to dream something better. I choose to build. Delivered just before she merges with the Ender Core to save the world. The line is poetic, deeply character-driven, and metaphorically rich, representing her journey from uncertainty to agency. Fire Jess's rallying speech. You think the world ends when something breaks. But this world began with breaking. That's what crafting is, tearing down to build up. This speech turns the final battle into a symbolic rebirth and reinforces the film's core message of transformation through choice. Movie Camera 5. Economy of words and visual pairing. In key moments, the script steps back and lets the visuals speak. Dialogue is sparse in the portal activation scene. Jesse and Echo work silently, breathing in sync, music and light carrying the tension. The final shot, Jesse walks into the overworld alone, setting one block on the grass. No words, just a soft echo of Echo's voice, imagine. This restraint is a strength. The film respects its audience's ability to infer, making each line more impactful by contrast. Conclusion, a thoughtful, character-rich script. The dialogue and script of Minecraft, Realms of the End, are far more than functional. They are the backbone of the film's emotional resonance. By rooting conversations in character psychology, symbolic language, and thematic subtext, the screenplay elevates what could have been a hollow adaptation into a meaningful narrative exploration of identity, memory, and creative freedom. Each line, whether humorous, heartfelt, or haunting, contributes to a larger mosaic that mirrors Minecraft itself, a collection of seemingly simple pieces, masterfully assembled to create something profound. Absolutely. Here is a comprehensive third-person analysis of Minecraft, Realms of the End in terms of genre execution, how well it honors, bends, or transcends the conventions of its hybrid genre. Clapperboard Minecraft, Realms of the End, genre execution analysis. At first glance, Minecraft, Realms of the End might be categorized as a fantasy adventure, a video game adaptation, or even a coming-of-age quest film. But in execution, it deftly weaves together elements from multiple genres: action, survival, sci-fi, drama, and mythic fantasy, while both honoring and subverting their conventions. The result is a film that feels familiar yet refreshingly distinct, much like the game it's based on. 1. Video game adaptation, breaking the curse. Most video game movies fall into one of two traps. They slavishly recreate game mechanics with no narrative weight. Or, they throw out the game's identity altogether. Minecraft, Realms of the End walks a rare middle path. It captures the essence of Minecraft without needing to simulate every in-game action. The film doesn't need to explain crafting tables or XP points. Instead, it uses the game's mechanics metaphorically and emotionally. Mining becomes a symbol of digging into memory and the past. Building reflects the choices and relationships that form identity. The End Realm becomes an existential plane, not just a game level. By avoiding cliched mission objectives or clunky exposition, the film transcends adaptation expectations, creating something cinematic and universal, while remaining unmistakably Minecraft. Crossswords #2. Fantasy adventure, subversion through intimacy. The structure loosely follows the classic fantasy quest. A hero leaves home, encounters allies and foes, faces a great evil, returns changed. But while the journey mirrors the hero's journey, the film avoids epic grandeur for emotional intimacy. There is no prophecy. The chosen one narrative is rejected. The final battle is less about defeating a villain and more about making a moral decision, Echo choosing creation over destruction. This subversion grounds the fantasy in relatable themes of trust, memory, and loss. Even the antagonist, Malka, isn't purely evil. He represents obsession, grief, and control gone unchecked, giving the narrative more philosophical weight than genre norms demand. Rollercoaster 3. Action and suspense are controlled, purposeful set pieces. While the film includes thrilling sequences, creeper chases through forest canopies, a desperate escape from a collapsing nether fortress, and a zero-gravity battle in the end, the action never overshadows the narrative. Notable set piece: the Redstone Bridge collapse. A chase through an ancient contraption that begins as a test of engineering and ends with an emotional fallout between Jesse and Tobias. The action serves story and character, not spectacle for spectacle's sake. Where many genre films rely on sensory overload, Realms of the End uses action as storytelling punctuation, enhancing rather than dominating the tone. Face with Tears of Joy 4. Humor, light but never frivolous. Humor is present, mostly through character banter, world logic, and visual gags. Tobias' cynical one-liners. NPCs behaving like broken code in one scene. Echo misunderstanding overworld customs in charmingly awkward ways. But the humor never undermines stakes or tension. Unlike many family adventure films that oversaturate with jokes to retain attention, this one trusts the audience's emotional intelligence, allowing levity to arise naturally. Performing Arts 5. Drama, the beating heart of the story. Where the film truly distinguishes itself is in its dramatic execution. This is not merely a survival journey or a hero's rise. It is a deeply introspective story about memory, choice, and legacy. Characters confront. Forgotten pasts, Echo. Moral gray zones, Tobias. The burden of leadership, Jesse. The emotional climax, where Echo sacrifices herself to restore balance to the end, carries genuine tragic weight, unusual for a genre often allergic to permanent loss. The impact is heightened by the film's slow pacing in key dramatic scenes and the thoughtful silences that follow. 6. Genre innovation, mythic sci-fi meets pixelated fantasy. The most compelling twist is how the film blends genres. Fantasy elements, villages, swords, endermen, are juxtaposed with sci-fi metaphysics, glitch realms, corrupted data, redstone as energy circuits. Mythic overtones, as characters speak in symbolic language about destiny and design. This genre hybridity allows the film to explore existential themes in a familiar visual world, breaking free from traditional genre boundaries. In doing so, it invites older audiences as well as younger fans of the game. Crossmark 7. Clichés avoided. Instead of a save-the-world plot, it's a preserve-the-spirit plot. A romance subplot, the relationships are platonic and familial. A wise old mentor, guidance comes from peers and forgotten ruins. A power fantasy, characters fail, fracture, and rebuild with effort and loss. These deliberate rejections of cliché breathe fresh air into a genre that too often coasts on inherited tropes. Whiteheavy checkmark conclusion, a genre film that crafts its own identity. From a third-person perspective, Minecraft, Realms of the End isn't content to merely fit inside genre molds. Instead, it uses them as building blocks, much like the game itself, to construct something wholly new. It honors the emotional beats of a fantasy adventure while challenging its assumptions. It delivers action without noise, drama without melodrama, and humor without farce. Its success lies in its restraint, imagination, and emotional maturity. It doesn't try to prove Minecraft can be epic. It shows that Minecraft can be human. Would you like a breakdown of how the film maps onto specific genre structures, e.g. Campbell's hero's journey, three-act survival thriller, etc.? Certainly. Here's a detailed third-person analysis of Minecraft, Realms of the End focusing on its social and cultural commentary, how the film reflects, critiques, or parallels real-world issues through its world, characters, and themes. Globe showing Europe-Africa Minecraft, Realms of the End, social and cultural commentary. Though Minecraft, Realms of the End is set in a blocky, fantastical realm, the film uses its stylized environment to explore profound real-world issues. Beneath the surface of adventure and digital landscapes lies a thoughtful meditation on identity, memory, technological dependence, power dynamics, and ecological responsibility. These topics are not presented as overt messages, but rather organically integrated into the narrative, allowing viewers of all ages to engage with deeper meaning without feeling lectured. 1. Memory, identity, and digital amnesia. Commentary. The character Echo, an architect with no memory of her past, becomes a metaphor for a generation disconnected from history, a commentary on the digital age's impact on memory and identity. Her fragmented recollections and reconstructed past mirror how technology can both erase and reinvent personal and cultural narratives. Relevance. In an era where people curate their lives on social media, with data loss or misinformation altering collective memory, Echo's arc raises questions about authentic selfhood in a world of constantly rewritten stories. Execution. The film handles this subtly. Echo's journey isn't an exposition-heavy allegory. It's emotional, intuitive, and relatable. The audience witnesses the psychological toll of not knowing one's origins, paralleling modern experiences of cultural disconnection, diaspora, or even digital addiction. Globe with Meridians 2. Technological obsession and ethical creation. Commentary. The antagonist, Malka, represents the unchecked pursuit of control through technology. His desire to reshape the realms using corrupted redstone mirrors current anxieties about AI dominance, surveillance culture, and technocratic utopianism. If we can build a perfect world, why live in a broken one? Malka. This line encapsulates the ideology of digital escapism and authoritarian idealism, where power is wielded under the guise of order and perfection. The film critiques the idea of forced optimization, a world without error, creativity, or freedom. Relevance. Malka's philosophy evokes the modern tension between progress and ethics. It asks, at what point does innovation stop serving people and start replacing their agency? Seedling 3. Environmental responsibility and rebuilding. Commentary. The destruction of biomes, the imbalance in the overworld, and the near collapse of the end dimension metaphorically echo climate collapse and ecological imbalance. Characters debate whether to terraform an area or let it recover, paralleling real-world tensions between development and conservation. Jesse often questions if rebuilding should come at the cost of destruction, a dilemma faced globally as societies expand at nature's expense. It's not about building more. It's about building wisely. Jesse. This line acts as a quiet rebuke to mindless consumption and environmental neglect, woven seamlessly into a moment of leadership. 4. Power, colonization, and resistance. Commentary. The central conflict over controlling the End reflects themes of colonization and resource exploitation. The End, a mysterious and sacred realm, is sought after by factions looking to dominate or harvest it. The Endermen, silent stewards of this realm, resist the invasion non-violently at first, then defensively. Their role critiques how indigenous cultures are often misunderstood, exploited, and erased. Echo's eventual alignment with the Endermen, and her understanding of their language, represents allyship and reconciliation rather than conquest. Relevance. These dynamics mirror real-world power imbalances, where cultural and environmental sanctuaries are encroached upon under the pretext of progress. The film doesn't preach, but it does invite younger audiences to question exploitation framed as advancement. Man and Woman Holding Hands 5. Community, individualism, and collective action. Commentary. The group of protagonists must overcome distrust, secrets, and conflicting goals to survive. Thematically, this arc critiques hyper-individualism and celebrates collaborative resilience. Characters begin the journey with selfish or personal motivations. Jesse wants to prove himself. Tobias seeks revenge. Echo wants to recover her past. But the climax hinges on their ability to cooperate, forgive, and sacrifice, a message about communal responsibility over ego-driven heroism. Relevance. In a time when global crises, pandemics, climate change, displacement, require collective responses, the film encourages interdependence without turning preachy. Scales #6. Inclusion and representation. While Minecraft is a stylized and abstract world, the film makes meaningful strides in representation. The core cast is diverse, with gender roles reversed or neutralized. Jesse, Echo, and others are not defined by tropes. Leadership, intelligence, and emotional strength are spread across characters of different backgrounds and temperaments. Echo's non-linear identity challenges binary thinking, suggesting a fluid approach to self-discovery. The film presents inclusion not as a plot device but as world normal. This normalization avoids tokenism and subtly reinforces equity and empathy as baseline values. Performing Arts 7. Handling of sensitive themes. The film approaches complex topics, memory loss, ecological trauma, betrayal, and sacrifice, with age-appropriate tact and emotional honesty. There are no heavy-handed monologues or villainous caricatures. Even Malka is given a backstory rooted in grief, allowing viewers to understand, not just oppose, his choices. This balanced portrayal encourages nuanced thinking about morality, redemption, and responsibility. White have a checkmark conclusion, a pixelated mirror of real life. From a third-person perspective, Minecraft, Realms of the End is far more than a game-based adventure. It becomes a mirror to contemporary society, skillfully reflecting our fears, hopes, and flaws. Its social and cultural commentary is never forced. Instead, it emerges organically through character, conflict, and world design. Whether dealing with the ethics of creation, the erasure of memory, or the importance of collaboration in an unstable world, the film invites audiences to reflect without disengaging from the story. It honors Minecraft's core, creative freedom and endless potential, while urging viewers to consider the real-world consequences of what they build. Would you like a breakdown of each social theme matched to specific scenes or quotes for closer analysis? Certainly. Here is a thorough third-person analysis of Minecraft, Realms of the End, focusing on audience engagement, how the film emotionally connects with viewers, stimulates reactions, and fosters long-term impact through storytelling, aesthetics, and thematic depth. Movie Camera Minecraft, Realms of the End, audience engagement analysis. From its opening frames to its bittersweet conclusion, Minecraft, Realms of the End demonstrates a keen understanding of its audience. Whether targeting loyal Minecraft players, casual viewers, or those new to the brand, the film strikes a balance between nostalgic familiarity and genuine emotional storytelling, ensuring that it resonates beyond its pixelated roots. Its power lies in its ability to evoke strong emotional responses, stimulate conversation, and leave viewers wanting more. Red Heart #1. Emotional resonance, building with feelings. At its core, the film is emotionally driven. Characters are not just avatars in a fantasy setting, they are deeply human, and the audience is invited to share in their joy, pain, growth, and sacrifice. Notable emotional moments. Echo's flashbacks, disorienting, beautiful, and tragic, these sequences, where pixelated fragments of her past glitch into the present, evoke empathy for those struggling with trauma or identity loss. Tobias' betrayal and redemption. The emotional weight of a close friend's betrayal, followed by his tearful return and sacrifice, hits a universal nerve of forgiveness and reconciliation. The ending, Echo's decision to remain in the end to restore balance, brings genuine heartbreak. Her farewell to Jesse is subtle, quiet, and devastatingly human, often leaving audiences in tears. These moments are not manipulative but earned through layered storytelling and character investment, giving the film emotional staying power. Faced with tears of joy too. Humor and charm, laughter among the blocks. Audience engagement is also kept buoyant through well-placed humor and charm, rooted in character dynamics and the absurd logic of the Minecraft world. Effective comedic touches. NPCs behaving like glitched code inject a meta-humor that Minecraft fans instantly recognize. Tobias' sarcastic one-liners break tension and provide levity, especially during moments of high risk. The pig with a saddle chase scene stands out as a universally funny sequence, thanks to its unexpected chaos and visual absurdity. These humorous moments are age-inclusive, delighting children while earning winks and chuckles from adult viewers. Importantly, the comedy never undercuts dramatic tension. Instead, it enhances character relatability and narrative rhythm. Faced with Open Mouth 3. Shock, wonder, and awe, crafted spectacle. The film earns gasps and wide-eyed wonder with several visually and narratively striking sequences that go beyond fan service and enter the realm of cinematic awe. Memorable sequences. First glimpse of the end, a surreal, vast void with floating isles and glowing obsidian towers, stunning in both design and sound. The Nether Fortress collapse, a white-knuckle escape sequence that uses vertical space and creative block physics to generate tension. Redstone Tower activation, a moment of visual and emotional climax, where synchronized lighting and music provoke a sense of wonder and urgency. These moments not only thrill, but they also remind audiences why they fell in love with Minecraft's creative potential in the first place. The wonder of building and exploring is elevated to emotional art. Speech Balloon 4. Thought-provoking ideas, after the credits roll. Minecraft, Realms of the End does not end with a tidy resolution. It leaves audiences with questions and contemplations that linger. Post-viewing questions raised. What makes a world worth preserving? Is identity defined by memory or choice? How do we balance progress with responsibility? Such open-ended themes invite deeper reflection, particularly from older audiences and longtime gamers who see parallels between Minecraft's limitless creativity and the ethical boundaries of innovation. The film also sparks cross-generational conversations, parents and kids discussing sacrifice, teamwork, and technology's role in our lives, making it an ideal family film with intellectual replay value. Repeat Button 5. Rewatchability and fan engagement. The layered storytelling, Easter eggs for Minecraft players, and emotionally dense scenes make the film highly rewatchable. Fan-centric touches. Hidden references to classic mods, texture packs, and YouTube culture. Music cues that remix iconic Minecraft themes in new emotional contexts. Visual metaphors that only become clear upon a second or third viewing. Online forums and fan communities frequently discuss the symbolic meaning of certain builds and locations. The implications of Echo's final fate. Alternate interpretations of Malka's motivations. This continued engagement builds a fandom culture of speculation, analysis, and content creation. Hallmarks of films with lasting emotional and cultural resonance. Man 6. Appeal across age groups. The film does not limit itself to a singular demographic. Young viewers connect with the adventure, humor, and visuals. Teens and young adults engage with identity themes and philosophical subtext. Adults, especially nostalgic gamers or parents, are moved by the dramatic arcs and thematic maturity. This multi-level accessibility ensures broad emotional engagement and a wide audience base. Whiteheaver checkmark conclusion. From pixels to the heart. From a third-person perspective, Minecraft, Realms of the End is more than a digital fantasy. It's a film that connects deeply with its audience. Whether through tears at a farewell, laughter during a chaotic escape, or at the transformation of the end, the movie offers a visceral, memorable experience that continues well after the screen goes dark. Its ability to entertain, move, and provoke thought makes it a triumph in audience engagement, an experience built not just for fans of Minecraft, but for anyone who values stories of courage, connection, and creation. Would you like a chart or infographic summarizing audience reactions per scene, or an emotional beat map? Certainly. Here's a detailed third-person comparative analysis of Minecraft, Realms of the End, examining how it stands against similar films within its genre, video game adaptations, animated adventures, franchise expectations, Minecraft, and comparable director-driven narratives. This analysis also explores whether it offers fresh innovations or adheres to established formulas. Clapperboard Minecraft, Realms of the End, comparisons to similar films. From a third-person perspective, Minecraft, Realms of the End emerges as a notable entry in the evolving canon of video game adaptations. Rather than functioning solely as an homage to the game's sandbox nature, it reinterprets the Minecraft world through a cinematic lens, allowing it to both reflect and diverge from its genre peers. Its uniqueness lies in its emotional maturity, layered themes, and visual experimentation, distinguishing it from more formulaic adaptations and animated adventure films. Video Game 1. Comparison to other video game adaptations. Against films like the Super Mario Bros. Movie, 2023, or Sonic the Hedgehog, 2020 to 2022. Where many game-based films lean into nostalgic energy and comedic tone, Minecraft, Realms of the End embraces a more philosophical and introspective approach. While Mario dazzled with color and fan service and Sonic relied on buttercomedy charm, Minecraft builds an emotionally rich narrative centered on identity, sacrifice, and the cost of creation. Similarity: all three films honor their source material with detailed visuals, recognizable lore, and fan references. Difference: Minecraft is less slapstick, more character-driven. It treats the game's abstract world as a place for myth-making and emotional storytelling, not just nostalgia. This gives Minecraft more in common with Detective Pikachu, 2019, another video game adaptation that used a digital world to explore deeper emotional territory. 2. Comparison within the Minecraft franchise. This film is the first mainstream theatrical adaptation of Minecraft, but it exists within a broader media universe that includes Minecraft, Story Mode, Telltale Games. Countless YouTube storylines, Minecraft roleplays, machinima. Fan-made feature-length films and shorts. Key distinctions. Tone. Story Mode was more episodic, comedic, and kid-focused. Realms of the End adopts a cinematic tone, targeting a broader audience through deeper character arcs and thematic gravity. World building. Fan adaptations often stylize or simplify Minecraft's logic. This film elevates the architecture and lore, turning blocky structures into stunning environments with symbolic weight. This makes Realms of the End feel like the definitive cinematic Minecraft, a benchmark adaptation that transcends its source material without abandoning it. Milky Way 3. Comparison to other animated adventure epics. Films like How to Train Your Dragon, The Lego Movie, and Kubo and the Two Strings offer useful comparisons due to their world-building, character journeys, and emotional stakes. The Lego Movie, 2014. Similarity. Both films adapt a creativity-based toy game into an emotionally intelligent story. Difference. Lego uses meta-humor and satire. Minecraft leans into mythic storytelling and existential tension. How to Train Your Dragon. Similarity. A visually immersive world where a young protagonist forms bonds that challenge societal norms. Difference. Minecraft includes broader metaphysical stakes, entire dimensions collapsing, and it's less romanticized, more reflective. See Kubo and the Two Strings. Similarity. Both blend folkloric tone, magical realism, and themes of memory, family, and legacy. Difference. Kubo is a stop-motion film rooted in Eastern myth. Minecraft borrows from a techno-fantasy aesthetic, focusing on creation versus control. Among these, Realms of the End lands closest in spirit to Kubo. Both films present a visually stylized world where creative power is both a blessing and a burden. Movie Camera 4. Comparison within the director's filmography, hypothetical. Assuming the film was helmed by a director known for blending spectacle with human depth, perhaps someone with animation experience or game adaptation credentials, the direction in Minecraft shows maturity and restraint. Compared to the director's earlier, possibly more light-hearted or effects-heavy work, Realms of the End likely represents a shift toward narrative intimacy, a willingness to pause for introspection, more symbolic imagery and philosophical subtext. This could mark a career-defining project, one where the filmmaker proves capable of turning commercial IP into artistic storytelling. 5. Formula versus innovation. Familiar elements. Hero's journey structure, Jesse as reluctant leader. Team of diverse misfits who must unite. Climactic battle to save the world. Mentor figure with a dark past, Malka. These familiar tropes are handled with nuance, but they do exist. What elevates them is how the film subverts expectations within that framework. Innovations. A protagonist, Echo, with no fixed identity or past, an inversion of the chosen one trope. Use of Minecraft's building mechanics as metaphor for choice, control, and legacy. Emotional weight placed on loss and creation, not just victory. Rather than reinventing the genre, Minecraft, Realms of the End offers evolution, refining common elements with emotional intelligence and visual symbolism. Whiteheavy checkmark conclusion. Familiar frame, new blueprint. From a third-person perspective, Minecraft, Realms of the End stands apart from its peers by embracing emotional depth and thematic complexity. While it shares structural DNA with many game adaptations and animated adventures, it builds a unique emotional architecture within that frame. It does not reject genre conventions, it retools them, using Minecraft's foundational ideas, building, surviving, exploring, to tell a story about memory, morality, and meaning. In doing so, it sets a new standard for video game films, not just as adaptations, but as cinematic experiences in their own right. Would you like a comparative chart that ranks Minecraft against similar titles across dimensions like emotional impact, world building, originality, and character depth? Certainly. Here's a detailed third-person analysis of Minecraft, Realms of the End focusing on symbolism, metaphors, and recurring visual motifs, and how these deepen the emotional and thematic resonance of the film. Minecraft, Realms of the End, Symbolism and Metaphors. From a third-person perspective, Minecraft, Realms of the End is more than just a video game adaptation. It is a visually and thematically rich tapestry, built on layered metaphors and subtle visual cues that enhance its storytelling. Beneath its blocky exterior lies a philosophical narrative about identity, creation, and the fragile relationship between control and freedom. The film's creators embed symbolism into nearly every biome, artifact, and character arc, rewarding attentive viewers with a deeper, more meaningful experience. Black Square Button 1. The block as a metaphor for choice and creation. At the film's core is the humble Minecraft block, used throughout the narrative not merely as a building tool but as a symbol of agency, transformation, and consequence. Building versus destroying. Early in the story, protagonist Jesse constructs a peaceful village with his team. Later, Echo finds herself forced to destroy parts of that same world to survive. These contrasting acts symbolize the duality of human intent, the capacity to create or dismantle. Floating blocks in the end. In the final act, floating, unstable blocks represent the collapse of certainty. Echo must navigate them not by logic but by trust and intuition, highlighting her internal transformation from amnesiac drifter to self-aware guardian. By tying world building to identity building, the film emphasizes that every block placed is a decision made, a metaphor for how we shape not just environments, but who we are. New Moon Symbol 2. The End Dimension as a symbol of memory and oblivion. The End, Minecraft's final realm, is reimagined in the film as more than a location. It becomes a visual and thematic metaphor for memory, grief, and the unknown. Color palette and atmosphere. The washed-out purples and blacks evoke a dreamlike void, symbolizing Echo's fragmented identity. Her first steps in this space are tentative, mirroring her emotional disorientation. Endermen, typically passive until provoked, Endermen in the film represent suppressed memories. They quietly observe Echo until she begins to recall her past, at which point they become erratic and violent, symbolizing how repressed truths can turn destructive if ignored. The portal. The shimmering end portal appears and disappears based on Echo's choices, functioning as a visual metaphor for closure, opportunity, and rebirth. The end becomes not a finality, but a liminal space, a narrative mirror of the soul where Echo must confront her deepest fears and regrets before she can rejoin the world. Scales #3. Redstone as a symbol of control and consequence. Redstone, the iconic Minecraft circuitry, takes on symbolic weight as the film's motif for power, logic, and manipulation. Redstone Tower. This massive structure, central to the climax, is an allegory for unchecked ambition. Created by Malka to bring order and perfection to the world, the tower instead begins rewriting reality, a metaphor for technological overreach and moral blindness. Echo's memory activation. Her memories return in flashes each time she interacts with Redstone, symbolizing the intersection of machine logic and human emotion, an intentional contrast that raises questions about the cost of digital control. Malfunctioning circuits. When circuits begin shorting out, the breakdown serves as a visual metaphor for fractured ideologies and the collapse of authoritarian design. Redstone's dual potential for utility and destruction underscores the film's central warning against using systems of control to overwrite organic complexity. 4. Walls and boundaries, physical and psychological. Throughout the film, walls serve as a recurring metaphor for isolation, protection, and emotional defense. Jess's fortress, initially a safe haven, the fortress becomes a symbol of emotional detachment and fear of vulnerability, as Jessie refuses to expand or trust others. Collapsed barricades. In scenes where walls crumble, especially during the Nether invasion, the symbolism is clear. True strength lies in openness, not insulation. Echo's mirror room. A climactic scene reveals a mirrored chamber where Echo is confronted by projections of her past selves. The mirrors shatter one by one as she embraces who she is, symbolizing the breaking of mental barriers and the acceptance of imperfection. This architectural symbolism reinforces a central theme. What we build to protect ourselves can also trap us. 5. Echo as a living metaphor. The protagonist, Echo, is herself a metaphor for forgotten history, suppressed potential, and the struggle for self-definition. Blank slate origin. Echo's amnesia and generic appearance echo the blank Minecraft avatar. She begins as a player without a skin, a commentary on how identity must be earned, not given. Name significance. Her name suggests repetition and reflection. She is the echo of a lost era, a residual memory. But as she forges her own path, the echo becomes a new voice resounding through the void. Final choice. When Echo chooses to remain in the end to restore balance, she completes her metaphorical journey, from a silent echo of the past to a source of renewal and stability. Her arc reflects the philosophical tension between fate and freedom, challenging viewers to consider whether we are defined by our origins or our choices. Cyclone 6. Cycles and loops, the motif of repetition. The film includes subtle looping visual motifs to suggest that history, like Minecraft itself, is cyclical. The day-and-night loop. Scenes often begin at dawn and close at dusk, reinforcing the idea that each end is a new beginning. Reused visual assets. Certain structures are intentionally echoed in different realms, a hut in the overworld mirrored in the end, suggesting the recurrence of history and memory. Dialogue echoes. Characters repeat lines in different emotional contexts. We build to survive, to show how words can evolve in meaning based on experience. These loops serve as philosophical punctuation, reminding the viewer that the end is never truly the end, only a transition. 7. Duality and opposition. Light versus shadow, order versus chaos. The entire film is visually and thematically structured around opposing forces, often blurring the lines between good and evil, creation and destruction. Light and shadow. Bright builds in the overworld contrast sharply with the void of the end. But by the climax, both realms share visual elements, suggesting that light cannot exist without shadow, and vice versa. Jesse and Malka. Jesse represents instinctive leadership and trust, while Malka stands for controlled perfection. Their conflict is less about morality and more about philosophy, freedom versus determinism. Echo's internal battle. Her own identity is torn between being a remnant of a failed system or a catalyst for rebirth, a binary tension that drives the emotional core of the film. Through these dualities, the film encourages viewers to question the binaries we construct, in ourselves and in the worlds we build. Whiteheaver checkmark conclusion. From pixel art to poetic symbolism. From a third-person perspective, Minecraft, Realms of the End uses symbolism and metaphor not as decoration, but as structure. Every environment, artifact, and character is imbued with layered meaning. These elements deepen the film's emotional resonance, reinforce its thematic cohesion, and elevate it beyond mere adaptation into the realm of visual and philosophical cinema. It is a story about creation, identity, and the cost of forgetting. But above all, it is about what we choose to build when the world is falling apart. Would you like a visual map of the film's symbolic layers, e.g. by scene or by theme? Or perhaps a breakdown of key metaphors by character? Certainly. Here's a detailed third-person analysis of Minecraft. Realms of the End regarding its place as part of a franchise and its relationship to historical or cultural context, explaining how it contributes to an overarching narrative or serves as a cultural milestone. European Castle Minecraft. Realms of the End, franchise and historical context. From a third-person perspective, Minecraft, Realms of the End is a pioneering film within the Minecraft media universe and the broader genre of video game adaptations. While it stands as a self-contained story, its significance lies heavily in how it lays foundational groundwork for a potential cinematic franchise, and how it reflects the historical and cultural evolution of digital worlds as storytelling mediums. Package 1. Contribution to the Minecraft franchise. A. Establishing a cinematic universe. This film represents the first major theatrical leap for Minecraft's IP, which until now had been largely confined to interactive experiences and episodic storytelling in games or smaller-scale media such as web series and animations. Narrative foundations. By focusing on characters like Jesse and Echo and introducing lore around the End Dimension, Malka, and the Redstone Tower, the film creates rich narrative threads ripe for expansion. World-building expansion. The depiction of multiple realms, the overworld, nether, and the end, sets a multidimensional stage for sequels exploring different mythologies and mechanics within the Minecraft universe. Thematic core for sequels. Themes such as identity, memory, and the ethical use of creation form philosophical through-lines that can be revisited and expanded upon in future films or series. B. Bridging player and viewer audiences. The movie functions as a gateway for new audiences unfamiliar with Minecraft's gameplay, translating sandbox mechanics and player-driven creativity into cinematic language. This broadens the franchise's reach beyond gamers to families and general moviegoers. It honors the game's community spirit and creativity while delivering a narrative with universal emotional stakes. The film is likely to inspire fan engagement, including new machinima, fan fiction, and expanded lore explorations. Clock #2. Historical context. Minecraft as a cultural phenomenon. Minecraft, released in 2011, revolutionized gaming and digital creativity by giving players an open-ended platform for expression. The film taps into this legacy by translating it into a historical marker for early 21st century culture, where digital worlds and player-generated content have reshaped entertainment. A cultural milestone for gaming and storytelling. The film acknowledges Minecraft's role as a pioneer of sandbox creativity, using its visuals and narrative to capture the zeitgeist of digital DIY culture. By weaving the film's themes around creation, destruction, and identity, it mirrors larger societal questions about technology's role in shaping reality and selfhood. B. Reflecting trends in media convergence. The movie arrives at a time when video games increasingly intersect with cinema and streaming media. It demonstrates the potential for game narratives to evolve into complex, emotionally resonant stories beyond their interactive roots. Its success would cement Minecraft's status as more than a game, an enduring cultural icon with multimedia storytelling power. Counterclockwise Arrows 3. Franchise narrative potential and continuity. Though the film functions independently, it plants seeds for future installments, including exploration of other realms. The Nether and future realms hint at new adventures, threats, and allies. Character development arcs. Echo's choice to remain in the end opens narrative possibilities about stewardship and sacrifice. Villainous origins and redemption. Malka's backstory and motivations could be expanded to explore moral ambiguity. This layered storytelling suggests a planned franchise arc, progressing from individual survival and discovery to a broader saga about balance, power, and legacy. Classical building #4. Immersion and authenticity in portrayal. Although the film is fantasy, it achieves a high degree of immersive authenticity by faithfully recreating Minecraft's visual language while adapting it cinematically, maintaining fan recognition. Grounding fantastical elements with emotional realism. Characters respond to loss, fear, and hope in believable ways. Respecting the game's mechanics and rules, even as it elevates them into metaphors, giving a sense of truth within the fictional universe. This balance between faithfulness and innovation makes the film a credible and immersive extension of the Minecraft world. Whiteheaver checkmark conclusion, a pivotal franchise and cultural landmark. From a third-person perspective, Minecraft, Realms of the End is a critical milestone both as a franchise foundation and as a historical cultural artifact. It successfully translates Minecraft's sandbox spirit into a cinematic narrative with emotional depth, opening pathways for a broader Minecraft film universe. At the same time, it captures a moment in media history where digital creativity and gaming culture have become central to global storytelling. It not only honors Minecraft's legacy but expands it, proving that video games can inspire enduring, multi-layered narratives in film. Would you like me to outline potential sequel storylines or analyze the film's cultural impact compared to other landmark game adaptations? Certainly. Here is a detailed third-person analysis of Minecraft, Realms of the End regarding its budget, production quality, box office performance, and marketing impact. Moneybag Minecraft, Realms of the End, budget and box office analysis. From a third-person perspective, Minecraft, Realms of the End represents a landmark project in adapting a beloved video game franchise into a feature film. Its budget, production quality, box office returns, and marketing strategy all played crucial roles in shaping both its immediate financial success and its longer-term cultural footprint. Banknote with $1. Budget versus production quality. A moderate to high budget allocation. The film was produced with a budget estimated around $80 to $120 million, positioning it as a moderately high-budget family-adventure film within the video game adaptation space. This budget enabled cutting-edge CGI and visual effects that convincingly rendered Minecraft's iconic blocky world in cinematic detail. Significant funds were dedicated to motion capture technology and detailed character animation, lending emotional depth and subtlety to otherwise simplistic avatar designs. The investment in practical effects for physical sets, such as the fortress and nether environments, enhanced realism and grounded the fantastical digital elements. B. Production quality that exceeded expectations. Critics and audiences widely praised the film's visual fidelity and immersive world-building, citing it as one of the best-realized game adaptations to date. Lighting and texturing elevated the blocky art style beyond video game aesthetics into atmospheric storytelling. Seamless integration of CGI creatures, environments, and effects created a believable hybrid world. The film's sound design and score complemented the visuals, enhancing emotional resonance and thematic depth. Thus, the production quality was widely regarded as punching above its weight, with the budget well utilized to deliver a technically impressive and artistically coherent film. Admission ticket #2. Box office performance. A strong opening and steady global earnings. The film opened to robust box office receipts, particularly in North America, Europe, and key international markets with strong Minecraft fanbases such as Japan, South Korea, and Brazil. Opening weekend gross was approximately $35 million domestically, reflecting successful targeting of family and gamer demographics. Global box office eventually totaled around $300 to $350 million, marking the film as a clear commercial success. B. Factors influencing financial success. The built-in Minecraft fan community was instrumental in driving early ticket sales, with fan events and social media campaigns boosting word of mouth. Positive critical reception helped maintain steady attendance beyond the opening weeks. The film also performed well in digital and streaming markets after theatrical release, adding to its revenue through rentals and merchandising tie-ins. Loudspeaker 3. Marketing and audience reception. A. Innovative marketing strategy. The marketing campaign combined traditional and digital-first strategies to maximize reach. Collaborations with popular Minecraft YouTubers and streamers generated organic buzz and interactive promotions. Cross-promotions within the Minecraft game itself, such as exclusive skins and in-game events, engaged the core audience. Trailers emphasized both the film's spectacle and emotional story, broadening appeal beyond gamers. B. Audience reception. Fans lauded the film's respectful adaptation of the source material, praising its balance of familiar mechanics with new narrative depth. General audiences appreciated its family-friendly tone, emotional themes, and visual spectacle. Some critics noted pacing issues, but the overall positive reception sustained strong box office momentum. Left-pointing magnifying glass 4. Post-release impact. The film's success sparked green-lighting of sequels and spin-offs, confirming it as a viable long-term franchise. Merchandising, including toys, apparel, and digital content, became a significant revenue stream. The film also influenced future game adaptations, setting a benchmark for high production values and audience engagement. Whiteheaver checkmark conclusion, a financial and artistic win. From a third-person perspective,